Hey everybody, I'm SARA Wiseman. Today we are talking about, can we become free from psychic dependency? Learn how to avoid the oracle syndrome of needing to know. And I think this is an especially good topic for all of us who have learned how to use third eye visioning or use guided visioning or receive messages, and to learn how to foresee what's going to happen in the future. So we get a little taste of this, and then we're trying to apply it to everything. And the universe sort of does this little pushback, like, yeah, yes, you're going to know some stuff, yes. And some stuff, it's not going to be for you to know. Some stuff, we're going to just have you wander around until it happens. That's just how the universe works. And you might think of it as the universe gives you a map, and it's like you get a vision, like, here I am now, here's where I'm going, and that's clear to you. And you know where you are, you know your destination. The universe gives you this fully. You meditate, you do third eye visioning, you receive messaging, you have events and synchronicities, and you're like, yep, this is where I'm going. And then how do you get there? And so you go into the universe and like, okay, show me, like, what do I do now? And nothing. And it's not because the universe is trying to be cryptic or mysterious. It's because a lot of the path of growth is just like heading out and seeing what happens and trusting that you're going to be guided each step of the way. Paulo Coelho's book, The Alchemist, is a really good example. Like, the main character just sets off and has all these adventures, and every time something needs to happen, the main character receives bits of wisdom along the way, sort of this cryptic messaging that gives him ideas of his next step. And also every time something needs to happen, someone comes in and there's an interaction that leads him to his next step. And this is not just in that book, but lots of books where the hero goes on the hero's quest. So this is how it works now. We sort of know we have a destiny, we have something we want to accomplish, we have a dream, we need to correct something, we're on a journey and something has to be done. And then it is through the process of that journey that what will need to happen will happen. As an example, and some of you guys have heard this already, but I went to Egypt several years ago, and I just kept thinking while I was there, like, surely this will be the time I get the message, or the time I get the sign. Something's going to happen, right? Like, all the people I was with were having these really big experiences. They were having, spirits from the various temples and things show up, or they were having memories or healings. And I was just kind of like, well, nothing happened yet. I don't think. I was sort of almost tumbled to the ground by a spirit in the temple courtyard, which was pretty exciting, but that wasn't really a message. It was more like the football tackle. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, I guess it's not going to happen. And it was towards the last day or so of the trip. And I was in a tiny plane flying over the Sahara, looking down, going, wow, if we go down, like, there's no solution for this. There's no solution for this worry, so I might as well not even worry about it, because if we go down, that's it. And I was just in this little plane, and I've told this before, but a spirit guide came and sat right next to me and put his hand on my forearm and gave me a message. And that guide was a departed and a very prominent departed of the ancient times. And I understood the message immediately, what it meant for me. And as we got off the plane, I looked at my arm and it was sort of like red. And then I had on my arm sort of the whole from elbow to wrist for almost a year, this sort of red mark. It wasn't a bad mark. It didn't hurt. There was no health issue. I went to the doctor several times. She's like, I don't know. It was some kind of mark of remembering so I wouldn't forget what I'd received on the plane when I had given up and thought the universe wasn't going to share with me anything I needed to know. I had given up. There I was thinking, please don't let the plane go down. And this thing happened. So in your own life too, it's going to be like this also. You're going to just be wandering around, feeling lost. You're going to try and meditate using all your techniques, your decks and your crystals and your meditations and your healings and your visioning and your channeling. You're going to pray. You're going to use all of it, and you won't have your answer. And yet you're going to go on the journey anyway. You're going to go on the journey anyway. And what needs to happen is going to show up. What needs to happen is going to show up. So you can trust this. I mean, this has happened to me now. I mean, it just doesn't fail. It never doesn't come. Like when all hope is lost, there is the direction. So what this means is that when you're not getting messages, because there will be times, even for those of you who are super, super experienced in your meditation practice, there will be times, and actually there will be lots of times where you're just like, okay, that was good, and I'm still confused. Now, sometimes we're confused. Sometimes the information doesn't come because we're asking the wrong question. We're asking like, does this person like me, right? And the universe is like, well, we don't care. That's not your path. We're not even going to waste any time on that particular question. Sometimes you're asking, where should I move to? And the universe is like, come on. We've already got that set in motion. The signs are going to be coming down in 2 months. Hang tight, focus on something else. This is not your area of concern right now. Sort of like you're on a need-to-know basis for some things. So you can kind of, and sometimes we can't hear the answers because we're so stressed with what we're grappling with, especially if we're in crisis or trauma, or we have a lot of emotional stuff that still needs processing, and we're sort of really in our heads or really feeling wounded or uncertain or vulnerable at the moment. Like we just can't get to a place of integration where we can be clear enough to hear what we're receiving. If that's the case, it's okay. Like it's okay to be so gentle with yourself and do things like take a nap or go for a walk, talk to a friend, have some tea, watch a funny show. We don't have to be always at this high level of psychic eye open, it just doesn't have to be that way always. But in any case, we don't need to know every next step for the future. We don't. The future is coming anyway. Better skill would be, again, this opening to what is, this sort of surrendering in trust to universal flow. This sort of understanding that all you've been through, you know how to do stuff. You know how to do stuff. All you've been through has shown you how to make decisions as things come up. You will know how to do things the right way going forward. And if you do things the wrong way, that's okay too, because over time, you will figure that one out also. Just having trust, surrendering. The universe is incredibly beneficial to us and incredibly loving to us, and always the universe is here to help us go to our highest level of awareness and our highest potentiality in this lifetime. The universe is on our side, basically. So you can trust that. You don't need to know the next exact step at every moment. I'm Sarah Wiseman, and you'll find me at sarawiseman.com.